What's up, YouTube? Welcome to the Dewbacked review of Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi. I've already seen it twice now, and I'm still buzzing from it. Oh my gosh, I am in love with this movie. It's by no means a perfect movie, and it's not my favorite of the bunch, and I'll do my rankings later, but I absolutely loved it. Thoroughly enjoyed it. And so I'm going to break down what I liked. It had its flaws, so we'll talk about what I didn't like. Warning, spoilers all over the place. I'm just going to jump right in. So if you haven't seen The Last Jedi, go watch it right now and then come back. Alright, the good. I feel like all of the good of 7, all the good characters got even better. They, right off the bat in the crawl, they mention the rebels. In 7 we established the Resistance and the First Order and how rebels really weren't a thing anymore. But in this movie, rebels came back. Finn says he was rebel scum, rebel base, Amil and Holdo said rebels all over the place, so I really like that it's back to the good guys being the rebellion, the rebels again. Leia finally hugged Chewie. The one major criticism of 7 that everyone hated, that she walked right past Chewie and hugged Rey instead. We finally got that fan service payoff. Thank you. Okay, let's go over characters. Luke. Wow, what a risk, but I really like what they did with Luke. They went over his character. He was the epitome of light side Jedi good in the original trilogy. And now, you know, what the lightsaber represented in the original trilogy, and he takes it and just chucks it. And I feel like it was Rian Johnson totally trolling the audience, how the huge questions of what are Luke's first words to Rey? Who are Rey's parents? Who is Snoke? All this stuff. And they winked at a few of those where Luke's first words to Rey are go away. He takes the lightsaber and chucks it. He doesn't want anything to do with it. I busted up laughing. It was so amazing. Rey's journey in this one, phenomenal. She had almost a Dagobah experience with the Dark Side Cave where she saw her own image when she was looking for the vision of her parents. And her connection with the Force, through the Force to KYLO. Wow. They teased that in the trailer, but I was thinking it was going to be editing misdirection where Kylo extended his hand to Rey, but it really was that scene, and how they established that they couldn't see each other's scenarios or surroundings, and then the payoff at the end with Luke. Poe. The first 15 minutes or so, Poe took names, trolled Hux. Oh man, it was classic Poe. I loved it. Then the rest of the movie, he didn't really do anything. He kind of just sat around, put on a Han Solo jacket, and made a few wisecracks and tried to throw a mutiny that ended up he was the one who was in the wrong, not Admiral Holdo. So it was good at first, but then he kind of tanked. Finn and Rose. I really liked their dynamic between the two of them, how she was this starstruck, how he was this hero of the Resistance, and she was this lowly maintenance worker. And now this chance, the whole premise of the movie was don't ever meet your heroes. And so we saw that with Rey and Luke, and now we saw it with Rose and Finn. The setup was they had to go to CANTO BIGHT to get this codebreaker to come back, and so they could sneak onto the big Snoke ship. And it was entertaining. It was a fun little second act, thrill ride, but they don't ever pay that off. Had Finn and Rose stayed put on the Resistance cruiser, then how many less, the DJ never would have sold them out. They never would have found out the Resistance little transports were going through cloaked. But, so, in fact, them going caused more problems and more death. So that's one thing I was like, okay, it's entertaining, but why? One of the things we did get by them going was the epic showdown between Finn and Phasma, which Phasma, everyone hated her in the first one because she was on screen for 90 seconds and said 6 words, but this one, again, fan service, awesome showdown, melee battle with Finn, with the same little spinny, nice little nod to Gwendolyn Christie, how he knocks her helmet, and we see just a hint of her eye. And if you've read the Phasma novel or you know any of her backstory, she never takes off her helmet. That is her identity. So fans were hoping that we could get to see her face in that, but it's her character. She practically sleeps in that armor. So It was a nice little, again, wink to the audience of this is Gwendolyn Christie, but her character will never remove her helmet. So I think it was a great ending to Phasma. We got the battle, we got the fight that we wanted to see so badly in The Force Awakens. Leia. Wow, so Leia's pretty much immortal apparently, because she gets blown out of the cockpit, wakes up mid-space, and then Force flies back into the cockpit. Pretty cool. I mean, another criticism of 7 and then just this new Disney reboot was Leia not being a Jedi anymore, not being Force sensitive, but you know, clearly she is, and very powerful with the Force, and able to harness it and to either heal or somehow contain herself so that she can get back to safety. Hux. I think he was even better than this one. He wasn't the bratty Hitler that he came off in the first movie, you know, kind of the whiny, him and power struggle with him and KYLO. There was a little bit of that. I really like him as a villain. I like that he's unpredictable. You know, at one point he sees KYLO wounded and unconscious, and he starts drawing his sidearm, only when KYLO wakes up that he bounces back. So he's kind of a wimp, but when push comes to shove, he's the guy who's the knife in the back versus KYLO is the hammer to the face. That's a analogy of what kind of bad guy they are. So KYLO, first of all, another spoiler, you get to see some full frontal nudity in this movie where KYLO, he's shirtless and he's been working out. Just like Matt the radar tech said, he saw KYLO in the shower, he's got an 8-pack, the dude's shredded. I thought he was phenomenal. I think KYLO is everything Anakin should have been. And in his performance, Adam Driver's performance, in the tragic light versus dark war within him, and then the way he twisted his intentions and got the drop on Snoke. Oh, that was like the best part of the whole movie. Let's talk about Snoke. I love that we got some, we at least got to hear him, see some of his power. I like that they gave us a little bit more of Snoke, but then took him out. So again, them trolling us of who is Snoke, they didn't even try to answer that question, but they did give us a nice little Snoke is powerful, he thinks he's all powerful, he thinks he knows everything and can read everyone's minds, but KYLO still gets the drop on him, and then we have the awesome showdown of all the Praetorian guards with KYLO and Rey working together. That's one of the other criticisms is the Royal Guards, the Red Road Royal Guards of the original trilogy, never even do anything. These guys, they throw down, and they're tough, and they stand, you know, they're a worthy opponent against these two lightsaber duelers. Chewie, him roasting a porg, oh my gosh, he did a good job, but he was very much a side background character. Same with R2-D2, same with C-3PO. One thing I did like about R2 is he had almost about the same amount of screen time in this than he did in 7, but what he did in this, he showed the original recording of Leia to Obi-Wan, and that was like the inciting incident for Luke to actually get off the island and do something, because he's now the Obi-Wan basically, and Leia is now talking to him saying he's their only hope. First off, let's just talk about porgs. They're adorable, and I'm team porg, but wow, I think we need to count how much screen time and how many actual porgs are in this movie, because, ooh, I think less is more. There's probably at least, you know, they probably had more screen time than Boba Fett, Darth Maul, and Phasma combined. Okay, let's talk about CANTO BIGHT. I love the look of it. I especially love that it was this glamorous, glitzy, high society, and yet, as Rose points out, it's all kind of a front because everyone's very fake, and it's all kind of a cover for how dirty it is. How they're all war profiteering, selling to both the First Order and Resistance, and cruelty to the animals, you know, gambling, and so it was a nice little expose on the regular people in the galaxy, how they could either do something honest or do something really corrupt, but while seeming like it's still honest. DJ, what was his character even doing in this story? And his little stutter, it seemed like that was 3PO's red arm in 7, where this character isn't interesting, so we have to give him something interesting so that people will think he's interesting. I felt like that. Crate. Wow, what a beautiful planet. White flat salt flats with the really deep red, and then at the end of the battle it just looks like blood and just carnage smeared everywhere. Awesome visuals. And then it looked like a geode, like when they go into the planet, there's crystals everywhere. It just looked gorgeous. Yoda! Oh my gosh, I gasped audibly. I started laughing. And then, I mean, he looks like a practical puppet Yoda. Frank Oz was at the premiere, and of course voiced and puppeteered by the great Frank Oz. So that's a wonderful nod to the original trilogy. I would have loved had we have seen a spirit of Obi-Wan, or even young Anakin if we're going to go that far. But how great would it have been to have Ewan McGregor dressed up to be like the old Alec Guinness appearing to Luke to help him get on his way. Other little Easter eggs I really liked was that little pool of mosaic tile in the Jedi Temple on Ahch-To. It's very reminiscent of Alter the Mortis trilogy in Clone Wars, where that little yin-yang symbol where Anakin goes through the trials to see if he's the chosen one. Like, it looked very similar to that. It was very impressive. So overall, fantastic. I really thoroughly enjoyed The Last Jedi. And I think with more viewings, especially as more time passes, I'm going to go back and rewatch episode 7 now that I have a little bit more understanding with some of the questions of Luke's motivation in his face when he sees Rey, Rey's parents and her motivation to get back to her family, and how it was all kind of just this ruse, and she was kind of just trying to, you know, tell herself they were coming back, even though deep down she knew all along they were either dead or just junkers that sold her out. Nothing really special about that. Fantastic. Go see it. Hopefully you've seen it already if you're watching this. But yeah, I loved it. I thought it was great. So I would say I would give this 8 Dewbacks out of 10. Thank you for watching. Comment, subscribe, check out my other videos, and follow me on all the socials. And this is Dewbacked saying may the Force be with you. Thanks.